lower bracket finals. And I am here with Surdy from Evil Geniuses Academy, and then I've also got Joshi. First of all, Surdy, welcome, man. I'm so happy to be next to you. So happy to have you on the desk. Tell us a little bit about your story in this academy craziness we have going on.
Okay, sure. So for anybody who doesn't know, my name is Jet, or Surdy, which most people will call me. I'm the top laner for Evil Geniuses Academy. I came up originally from their talent development pipeline with people you might know, such as Danny, who the current LCS ADC is, and Tomio, who is our academy jungler.
And you've had a really cool story like this entire time, right? We've seen you go from Evil Geniuses Prodigies, now you're playing with Evil Geniuses Academy, and you know, who knows where the next thing? It could just be Evil Geniuses directly from here, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll have to see. But we were in the studio yesterday. We had an intense best of 5 that went to 4 games. We didn't get the silver scrapes, but it was an incredible run from 100 Thieves Academy to kind of come back and make a statement for themselves in that one, Surdy.
They did really well, and I think that today is going to be a very close 5-game series.
Yeah. I think yesterday, the game that a lot of people were going to be remembering is the one that we got on the screen right now, is the game 2, 51 minutes, 60 kills coming through for both sides of the map. And it was absolutely crazy, like how back and forth all of these fights were, how much everybody was focusing on like individual positioning. And eventually it just felt like 100 Thieves were skill checking Immortals all across the map.
I didn't even know where to cheer that game. Me and Magical were in the crowd, and the gold lead is going back and forth, 6,000 each way. We're like, yay, yay! You don't know where to cheer. And it was actually incredible, you know, seeing these players come out. It wasn't 5 games, but it was a grueling 4 games. And talking about that a little bit more is, it's on stage, right? It's the first time that these players have gotten to be on a stage for the season, and I think stage nerves had a lot to do with it, Surdy. I don't know about you in the past
I mean,
as well.
Even just playing Academy for the first time, I know a lot of my friends that I've talked to within the scene had like crazy nerves.
Yeah.
And really that was a lot of the reason of the outcomes of the first games and why certain veteran rosters looked a lot better.
Yeah, and stage nerves are definitely a thing. I know we did get to see 100 Thieves move on in the bracket as well to this lower bracket final, and I think seeing that come through 400 Thieves, who were my dark horse, you know, no big deal, just throwing that out there, is huge. We got to see Gamsu ride in the win for them as well, and that journey, right, that is a grueling journey. We're talking about stress, we're talking about stage nerves. If 100 Thieves are to make it to the finals, that would be 3 best of 5s in a row through the days that they have to play.
Yeah, consecutive days, right? You just go from one to another, and that's what happens when you're here in the lower bracket. But I kind of want to ask you, Surdy, do you remember the first time that you ever played on stage? And like, were there any special feelings that came along with that?
Okay, well, I actually...
It sounds like a story here.
Yeah, no, I'm ready for story time.
I actually have not played on stage before.
Ever?
So
okay.
My first year in Academy is a split, and before that it was just amateur, and it was all remote because of the COVID situation.
Yeah. But we also know, like, you've run nationally, you were doing skiing competitively, so like, is there any analogs you kind of expect?
Okay, well, from my experience competing in other sports at a very high level, generally, it's pretty bad before it actually happens, but once you begin to get into the flow of things, if something doesn't happen within like the first few minutes of the game, all the nerves will pretty much be gone by then.
There you go.
A little bit of comfort there with some steady gameplay especially, and it was really funny to see 100 Thieves playing, but then behind the scenes you got the Papa Smithy tweet, nerves are gone, no big deal, they handled it with ease. But the first couple games they admitted, right, it was nerve-wracking, and I think that's super interesting going into these, and the fact that it comes all down to this, right? It's over after a best of 5 if you lose, and I think that stress is added on there a lot. So as a player, when you're introduced in these kinds of situations, is there that kind of sigh of relief after you get through that first best of 5, or is it continuous stress, I guess?
I mean, the first best of 5 is always very, very difficult, but once you get past that, the idea that this is something that like you can actually do is kind of cemented into your head, and the nerves begin to get easier. Although I feel like that kind of flips on its head when it comes to the finals matches.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things that I experienced, and I haven't played on a stage like this, but I've played on a much smaller stage, like high school and college and stuff. And I always feel like, for me, after the initial nerves, like, oh my God, am I going to perform? Like, what's going to happen? I realized, like, this is why I'm here.
Yeah,
right? Like, this is the goal. This is what I'm trying to do. And like, once I finally find that flow state and just recognize, like, if I can't perform here, like, you know, I can be pissed at myself after the games are over,
Yeah.
but right now, we got to be on the court, we got to be on the Rift, and we got to show what we can do.
Exactly. We're gonna actually take a look at Papa Smithy's tweet showing the picture of everybody on stage. I believe it was right after they got done taking. Yeah, there you go. Getting to see a little bit of the stage, getting to see the setup before then, and talking a little bit about that stress. And Papa Smithy, I would say, knows about that stress a little bit.
Yeah, he will. I mean, he has experience in esports, a lot of it.
Yeah, it is incredible, and to have somebody like that behind the scenes, I think is super huge
It
for
is
them as well. And
massive for Nork.
I will say, you know, into this matchup, into 100 Thieves, it's really interesting because we have a little bit of a story to tell where Golden Guardians, the team they'll be facing today, Academy, did knock them down in the lower bracket. And having to make the run through that is an interesting one, that now the ticket to the grand finals is through the person that knocked them down.
Yes. I have been in that position before in one of my Proving Grounds runs in the past. And honestly, despite them being knocked down originally, I am favoring 100 Thieves for this series, in my opinion. I think with their stage nerfs out of the way, and just from the gameplay that they showed yesterday, I believe that they have a very strong chance of beating Golden Guardians. Their previous losses were to a Diana Yasuo comp, for example, and I feel like if they don't get wins cheesed off of them in the early game, they're going to just straight up outhands them like they did versus Immortals.
Yeah.
But what about the feelings that go along with it, right? These are the guys that knocked you down, and it's, you know, there's a revenge element to it. There's a little bit of a fear aura. Like, I know a lot of people are looking at people that have already beat them and just like, okay, well they kind of thrashed us last time, and that can kind of get in your head a little bit. What kind of thoughts do you think about before you actually go into it when you have to play them the second time?
I mean, it really depends from player to player. Typically, there'll be a few very specific reasons why you lost to a roster. It generally won't be every player just being gapped individually or something like that. And depending on what part you previously played in your wins or losses against that team, you'll be feeling more or less confident.
Yeah, I feel that a lot as somebody who's played a lot of fighting games over the years. Like, if I felt like it was a close loss, I'm just like, I'm pumped, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to take this guy down, because like, I'm not going to make that same mistake. But there are other times where, you know, that was a pretty dominant victory from Golden Guardians. So we'll see how our rookies bounce back, because they are
possible
rookies.
They could be mental.
They are.
I've experienced it myself. I know a lot of other players do.
Yeah.
And it is very real this late in the tournament.
Yeah, and we see Golden Guardians run in the upper bracket, did get knocked down by Team Liquid Academy there to get to the finals, but themselves having a pretty stellar run through the upper bracket, and I think that is tied, you know, consistently to the way that they've been playing throughout the Proving Grounds, and especially the strength we've seen through them. And looking at Ryoma a lot of the times, right? Being a star player for Golden Guardians, Joshi.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Ryoma. I think he's been my #1 mid laner in this Academy season, and it's really kind of showing how well he's able to play around a lot of these other mid jungles that are just prioritizing him. And you start to see that as these games go longer, if he can build up these early leads, I feel like he's kind of like Kaori for your team, where if he does have some of these really strong early games, you can kind of count on him really performing throughout the rest of it. But that big step is getting him that first kill, making him feel like he's in control.
Yes, it is. If he has that kind of a lead on him, he will not throw it.
Yeah.
He will maintain it for the rest of the game, and he's very comfortable playing from ahead. He will see the fights that they can and cannot take, and he'll be very quick on calling cross maps when he's not able to take them.
There is one play that comes to mind for me, though, when we were actually seeing them play up against, I believe it was Kaidra on TSM, and we also saw him play up against Jimmy. And sometimes, you know, Ryoma, for how strong of a laner he can be, he often plays really far forward, and he's going to take a lot of risks as a laner trying to establish that advantage.
I think that's the most interesting thing about Ryoma, though. It's interesting when you get to talk to him, when you get to see him play, because that personality kind of comes out in that play style, the way that he's aggressive, the way that he's pronounced in the things that he wants. And I want to get your perspective on that. For Ryoma, who has been a standout for Golden Guardians, do you feel like that personality kind of fits the player?
Yeah, I do. Honestly, I view him kind of similarly to me in the player. I have the same kind of tendencies where if the game is going like very stagnantly, I will begin to push a little further forward to see what I can get away with, or
a little bit.
try and accelerate the game in some kind of way.
See where those lines are.
Proactive, and I can find gaps.
Yeah, and I guess when you're looking at Ryoma, you have to also look at the other side, because
of course,
yesterday, my God, Jimmy, man, the guy on your screen, like, oh my goodness, the guy was popping off into the best of 5 against Immortals Academy, and I think we've talked a lot about the stellar standout of Ryoma for Golden Guardians Academy, but Jimian has had a little bit more of a quiet season thus far, but he is popping off in the later parts of Proving Grounds.
He is very, very consistent. I think that's a big staple of his play. His laning is solid, but he does not take these massive risks that players such as myself, Ryoma, etc. will go for. He instead is very smart about how he plays, especially in side lane later on. You'll never see him getting caught. When he does, there have been multiple times where he just has the entire enemy team run after him.
Yeah, it happened
A
yesterday.
minute at a time.
So many times.
Yeah, he was 1v4 and LeBlanc still managed to get out. We saw him run around other teams when he was playing with Twisted Fate. And this is one of the players that I actually have gotten so much more respect for as the season went on. Because when he came in, he looked okay, right? As you said, he was very consistent. He wasn't giving up a whole lot of kills. But now you're seeing him have a lot more confidence. You're seeing him push people up against the wall. And in his Victor game yesterday, we saw him push Pretty into a position where Pretty is like, well, I have to fight or die. And that's the kind of thing that Jamie will do that a lot of other mid laners won't. Ryoma will fight you. Jamie will say, you have to fight me or I will slowly push you out of the game.
Exactly.
And I think that's the most interesting when you're looking at this head-to-head, right? And the way that this is going to go down, because a little bit contrasting in the way that they want to approach the series and the gameplay itself. So when you're looking at this, do you, Surdy, prefer the headstrong decision-making, or do you prefer, let them make mistakes into us?
Well, personally, what I'm trying to work towards as a player is more so Jimmian style. I think that there is a lot of merit and a lot of value to how Ryoma plays, although I feel like that playstyle specifically excels against teams with weak coordination or with a weak counterpart. So if I was versing a certain player who I thought I was better than, I might take Ryoma's approach, but against other players, and just generally, as you go up to the higher level in LCS, I think Jimmian's way is a much more consistent way of creating gold leads, and overall is going to serve him very, very well during this series.
Well, that's an interesting question then, right? Because you said there is a pretty big difference in the way that they play, right?
Yes.
Obviously Jimmy is playing this more controlled. Roma is trying to attack lesser coordinated teams. Is 100 Thieves a lesser coordinated team?
I think that's very difficult to say. They do have a rookie bot lane, although I feel like with Kenvi in the jungle, by far the strongest jungler in Academy.
For sure.
Like the mid jungle 2v2 is going to be extremely hard for Ryoma to be able to exploit.
Yeah.
I think that Ryoma, in order to accelerate this game, has to work very well with Chime and Iconic in order to create mid pressure and then transfer that pressure into the side lanes. And I think that they're going to have a very difficult time doing that to Kenvi.
So I will say, all good on the analytical, the statistics, bringing that out. I'm about the emotion, man. And the fact that Ryoma is going against Jimmian, replacement on 100 Thieves Academy to make it to the grand finals, I think that's huge. And we can talk about the different play styles and things, but I think there's a lot of emotion that goes into this one as well. I don't know, from a player's perspective, if you were in a situation like that, how would you kind of break that down? Would it be a different situation for you?
I mean, I would try and disregard the emotion as much as I can, because I feel like that does a lot of the time interfere
Logical,
with
I like it.
the way that you want to play. But if I was in his shoes, I would want this win, maybe more than I'd even want the finals, so that I could prove to the org that I ended up leaving that they made the mistake.
Yeah, it's incredible to get to hear Ryoma discuss that a little bit in interviews we've had with him. It's like, it does mean a good amount to him to be able to have that kind of move forward, and especially looking at another potential finals berth for him, but on a different team, on a different situation, would make it to where this guy is the real deal. This guy is the reason why there's a lot of success
I
through
want
the
to see him
team.
step up very big, and I think that if he does, and if he proves that he can be this consistent, reaching the highest level in Academy for this long, he's going to get another shot in LCS soon, and it's going to be amazing for his career.
I think, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but the same top 4 teams between last Proving Grounds and this Proving Grounds, right? Immortals, Golden Guardians, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, and, to the 100 Thieves credit, right? They had Ryoma, they had Chad, they had Gamsu. All 3 of these guys still made top 4 once again. And so we're kind of seeing a little bit more of that rematch coming back, right? It is going to be Ryoma playing against his former team. He's going to be having to play up against Gamsu, and then Kenvi, the guy that Chad replaced. So I feel like there's just a lot of this internal rivalry. Like, these guys know each other so well.
I'm sure there will be, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of things that happen within this game, which we as spectators might not entirely understand, but as these players have experience with each other, they know their play styles, they're going to try stuff just because they know how the other person thinks.
And I guess when you're approaching this, you get all the emotion stuff from Ryoma's side, but Jimmian's just sitting over there like, I've been showing up, man. Like, who are you? This is my spot now. And especially like, that has been the key thing for me, is the glow up for Jimmian, and how at the beginning of the Academy split, there was a mid laner, and it was a position on the map, and to see him grow into his own and find a place as he did in leagues prior, right? But here in Academy, I think that was super interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, this is the position you want to be in Jimian. If you're planning
Absolutely.
on creating a future in North America, this is exactly where you want to be. He's done a great job for himself so far. He's slowly scaled up throughout the split, and we're beginning to see why he was heralded as such a talent inside of the PCS.
Yeah.
Now, I got an interesting thing for you, right? Because obviously, you know, you really started in Oceania where you had a little bit more time to play against those players. You know, Jamien's coming in from another region as well where he is not used to playing against most of the Academy players. He probably didn't know most of them coming in. How is it playing against people that you've played against for a while versus an entirely new region? Does that make you think about different play styles at all?
Yeah, massively actually. So
That's
one of the
interesting. That's
biggest
cool.
culture shocks coming into America was just how differently people played here. In America, and this is the exact opposite of Oceania, they play to scale, they play very slowly. But then you'll see players like me, like Fudge, like Ryoma, like FBI, we're extremely aggressive inside of the lane phase. We try and generate our own leads from mechanical ability.
Yeah.
And it does serve us very well a lot of the time, but when contrasted in certain games against the playstyles of other regions, we can be at a serious disadvantage because of that tendency.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think we're going to see a little bit more of this from Jimian as well. Like, it took him a while again to kind of find his footing, but he's found his footing, man. Like, this guy, he popped off yesterday on 3 different champions, right? And, you know, admittedly, Pretty got the best of him in game 1, and Pretty like totally took control of that one. But ever since then, you know, he reversed the matchup. He took the exact same matchup and just said, okay, yeah, I'm going to win this time. He absolutely destroys in the Blanc. He controls the game as the victor, and it feels like, you know, once he's able to start understanding how to play with the rest of the team, understands how to play against everybody else in the league, Jimian, like, is taking off.
It is.
Now, I guess another question, kind of harkening back to we were talking about stress and playing on stage and stuff. I feel like it's doubly crazy for Jimian, right? Like, first split into Academy, also get to go in person, also having to kind of learn the shtick of being in NA developmental in NA Academy, and to see that kind of light in his eyes when we talk to him, I think it's super, I know it's corny, but I think it's super interesting because, as you've said, and now as we've talked about, he has made that glow up, but there is tests coming for him, right? And I think when the whole conversation has been about Ryoma versus Jimian, and this is a core matchup to this matchup, it's in specific in this series, because it will deal a lot for the first couple games where the draft, the meta, will be determined by the mid laners, I feel like.
Well, I agree completely.
Do you have anything to say about mid lane matchups?
I mean, we all got a lot of strong Oceanic mid laners coming through, right? Pretty Oceanic residency, you know, but you got the Greek, you got both Ryoma and Harry who are coming in from Oceania, and then PCS, Jimian, like, they all look really good. We've been importing a lot of strong players, and I can't wait to see how they do.
I cannot wait. We are actually going to send it away to a little bit of sound bites we got from Ryoma, from Jimian in their matchup, and a couple other players as well. So let's go ahead and hear what they had to say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jimian was the mid laner who took the 100D spot. For me, anyway, I think, I mean, I'm sure he knows as well that it's not evenly matched. I feel like there's one clear, obviously better mid laner, and I'm sure everyone knows that too.
Guma's like pretty consistent mid, but I believe in Jimmy and Kenvi, they make lots of good plays. Yeah, I think they can break it.
Honestly, again, I think there's not anything special. I think he's just good at like kind of assassins, but he doesn't really opt into them just because the nature of their team. And I mean, if he plays, you know, the standard matchups, I don't think he'll do very well.
I think Ryoma was a pretty solid mid laner on 100 Academy, but I honestly don't think he has that X factor or the special thing that you need to carry a game, and I think Jimian has that.
Sorry, Ryoma, I want to be the 2-time champion.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out there and show them, you know, 100Ds can't really win Proving Grounds without me.
Love to hear. And hey, Ryoma's showing the spice that we know and love.
I've never heard Gopsy trash talk before.
Hey, it was incredible. It was fun to get them to kind of talk about the situation, talk about the matchup in particular. And you hear both of them talk about X factors. They're talking about, you know, who has what it takes to make this moment happen. They both think they do. So I think when you're looking at this situation, you get backed up by the talk, and both teams know how much relies on these two. Do you have anything about any? Do you have any spice that you would take from that you think is interesting? You think Ryoma has the X factor? Or you think it's Jimmy?
Honestly, I think that the style that Roma has played in NA is a lot different from the one that I knew him playing in OS. He was extremely good at that Yasuo, at that Irelia, for example, the Akali. Those kinds of champions he really excels on, and I want to see him really surprise 100.
I like it. And getting to hear, I love that we got Gamsu and Jim and Busio to talk a little bit about Jimmy and especially Busio. That sound bite, yeah, it's so good. But I do want to transition to somewhere you're a little bit more comfortable with, as we're going to be looking at the top lane a little bit. I know you might have some things to say specifically about Tony Top, but we will have this interesting matchup in Gamsu, who has been lauded for his growth throughout the season, and Tony Top in the first split here and trying to find his own right.
Okay, well, so this is an interesting matchup, specifically because these two players are extremely good at their side lane play and their performance outside of lane phase specifically. Both of them, when they're at their weakest, is typically when they are punished within the lane, which is why Dokal does such a good job into them. He's extremely good at commanding comms around himself and snowballing that kind of a lead. You see Gamsu and Tony typically leaving lane phase with a little bit of a gold deficit, but then they always seem to have similar to or more impact than the enemy top laner as the game goes on. So I feel like both of them are going to look really good. I don't want to see them playing these super volatile early matchups. I don't want to see Tony on the Jace. I want to see him on the Ornn. I want to see him on the Camille. I want him to be put in a situation where it is difficult to punish him and he can just safely scale by Gamsu.
Yeah. I actually think that I kind of had a similar read on you and Tony Top, not this year, but last year, right? Where it kind of felt like you were both very volatile in the early innings. Now, it sounds like it's from very different reasons. You're looking to make the plays and Tony kind of gets put on the back foot. But I also feel like Tony has started looking a lot better, specifically in Proving Grounds. And I know that he's one of these players that when you put him on the stage, when you put him in a bracket, he starts being really brain on. He starts thinking about the game really hard the entire time because he feels like there's something to prove now. Like if I lose, I get knocked down. And I feel like that's definitely helping him.
I mean, his glow up has been massive, and I cannot overstate this enough. If you look at the stats from before, he was on one of the top teams, yet he averaged 440 gold down at 15.
Yeah.
But now, in that he's improving grounds, he actually has like 120 gold lead. That's nearly like a 2-kill difference.
Yeah.
That's how well he's performing.
Yeah.
He's in great form to be versing Gamsu, and I think that he will be able to consistently put out pressure against him, which is going to be instrumental in Golden Guardians winning. Because I feel like generating a lead through the mid 2v2 is going to be difficult for them.
Yeah, and I guess when you're looking at like the way that they approach the top lane too, you're saying specific picks you would like to see Tony Top go. I guess now same question for Gamsu. Is there anything that you saw from this guy that really stands out? I mean, we got a little bit of variations yesterday as well, but is there anything from him that you would like to see today that maybe is a little bit different?
Not Aatrox?
Not Aatrox, all right.
Aatrox. I would only want to see him pick Aatrox if it was into Sion, because I feel like Tony is a lot less proficient than Concept on that, and he'll actually be able to find windows to get big trades and begin to punish the matchup very hard.
Okay.
I think Gamsu, his best champ by far is Gnar. And he is definitely the best Gnar in Academy. I think that if he gets that consistently, or if he gets his gangplank, he's going to be in a very good position because it allows him to pressure Tony early, and it allows him to kind of keep that pressure going throughout the game and not really give Tony many options to move from side lanes and look for those flanks inside of the mid game.
A couple of thoughts come to mind. One, like, I think Gamsu's Gnar is quite good, but I'm surprised you rate it over like Darshan's Gnar because he's been playing this champion for so long. It feels like he gets a lot of leads that I don't think he should be getting. And you know, to say that he is actually the best Gnar is very, very impressive. That is high praise.
Yeah,
for Gamsu.
I'm confident he's the best Gnar.
All right. Well, hopefully it actually pays off. The one other thing I kind of want to see is we actually saw that he was not really allowed to play Gangplank at all yesterday, right? He's been looking so much better on this champ as the Proving Grounds has gone on, right? Like, I think between him and Bradley, they've lost like one game on the champion since Proving Grounds has started.
That's crazy.
Like, once you have that kind of record, you just cannot let this guy play such a safe top laner that has so many varieties of items that it can actually go for.
Well, yeah, not only that, but it also directly counters the way that Tony is looking to play. Unless... And the only situation in which I, as a top laner from Golden Guardians, would let this gangplank through is if we had been practicing something like the Vladimir as a counter to it in scrims. If that is the case, yes, I did do that in scrims, and it went very well. So
very well.
I think that Tony, he plays a lot of Kennen and Vlad in the past, especially when Vladimir was meta. He's very comfortable on this champion, even though we haven't necessarily seen him play it during the Proving Grounds so far, during the Academy split. But if he finds a situation where he can pick that as a counter, he will then be able to scale safely, and then he will actually start forcing the GP out, and he'll be really scary.
All right, so then my real question is, this is the nitty gritty stuff. What happens when we get 2 tanks in the top lane? Do you just throw your hands up, walk away, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, that's it.
Walk away, and the game just begins to revolve around the supports, I think.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit earlier, and you were saying like, the confidence that comes from, you know, having a calm little bit of an early start, I think is interesting. And for Tony Top, I feel like it helps him a little bit more. I mean, Gamsu already having the one best of 5 under his belt, having a little bit of that momentum. Do you think that we will get any kind of craziness of their volatility, or do you think it will end up being like we saw Gamsu playing a lot of the Ornn yesterday?
Yes, I think that if there is any volatility in these games, it's going to be from either Kenvi invading early on a jungle matchup, or Iconic picking something like the Xin Zhao and looking to make early plays around mid lane or one of the side lanes.
I feel like Xin Zhao is a little bit harder to play right now, especially since the you know, changes to his ultimate. But you know, something that we have seen a lot of success coming out of Iconic as well, and I kind of want to start looking a little bit more towards like the specific champion select is. I feel like Golden Guardians have had a lot of success when you take Iconic and you put on something that is very straightforward to execute, right? You just give him that go button. The Diana's had a lot of success, and when you pair it with the Yasuo, like kind of one of the champions that you were saying, like, yeah, I want to see more of Ryoma on this champ. Suddenly, the team looks very, very scary, and that's how they got their 2-0 last time.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way that they want to play. They want to be able to back Ryoma up in his very aggressive lane phase, make sure that he can't get punished, because he will always put himself in situations where if you match that mid gank, you're going to win.
Yeah.
He will have the pressure. He's going to be pressuring Jimyon. Jimyon is likely going to be on the back foot within lane phase, and you need to use the windows when he has him on the back foot in order to accelerate the game.
But that's where, yeah, as you were kind of foreshadowing, the junglers come in so heavily. Iconic, Kenvi being the GOAT of Academy and having incredible season, especially Proving Grounds so far. Maybe not the full season, but at least Proving Grounds, he really has been showing up. And so I feel like a lot of the driving force forward will be from the jungle matchup specifically, and trying to find the leads in the lane and helping the laners through as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of action is going to be around mid, and I feel like both mid laners are relatively evenly matched. So the jungle and the support are going to have an absolutely massive impact on the game.
Yeah, they absolutely will. Now, I do hear that we had predictions from our lovely analysts today. So let's go ahead and throw those bad boys up and see what we got. We got a couple hundred thievers in here. We have one Golden Guardians, but all 5 games, which, you know, I'm hoping for.
I gotta apologize in advance to Golden Glue's mom, right? I have not been able to cast almost any 100 Thieves victories today, and today I'm predicting Golden Guardians. I think, though, it is very close between these two teams, and while I do think the 100 Thieves looked fantastic yesterday, I also think that Golden Guardians has been a step up against Immortals pretty much the entire tournament, and as we start going towards the end, Tony Top's stepping up, Ryoma's been looking good, and they already have the head-to-head record. I think they're slightly favored, but only slightly.
Just slightly. Do you have anything to sell yourself on the 3-2 for 100 Thieves?
I mean, in my opinion, I think that 100 Thieves is already comfortable on stage, which means they likely are going to have a bit of an advantage in the early game, which is where I view Golden Guardians as having to snowball the game. They've already lost versus Diana Yasuo. I'm assuming they're going to ban that. The main way that Golden Guardians is going to win is by creating chaos and making the game kind of cheesy.
Yeah,
and I think that 100 Thieves, if they stop that, they're going to win the scaling game.
Would be interesting to see. I didn't have any like crazy big brain thoughts why. I chose them as my dark horse going into it.
You're sticking to your guns.
I'm sticking to my guns, all right? They are my dark horse through and through, even if they were one of the favorite at the beginning of the tournament. But in all actuality, right, like I am a huge believer of momentum. I'm a huge believer of, in League of Legends specifically, you know, coming from the LPL especially, momentum is so key. Emotion is so key. And I think especially at this level, it means a lot to these players. And to tamper that emotion a tiny bit is super interesting. But I do hear that we are ready for the casters to make their debut. So let's go ahead and send it over to Cubby and Magical.
Hello, welcome in to the studio. It is my first time here on the stage, and I'm joined in by Cubby. You actually got to be on the desk yesterday, so it's not your first time, but it's your first time up here with me.
Hey, this is a special spot. It's my first time visiting the LCS studios, first time in the studio as well, like some of these players we have on stage. I know how excited they are because I'm pretty excited myself, and I'm ready to get these games going.
Oh, same.
Great series today. GGA versus 100A. Both these orgs took top 3 in the last split. In fact, 100 Thieves Academy, top 3 in all 3 proving grounds we've had so far. They're trying to make it back to elusive final. See which team can get that best of 5 victory under the belt and face TL tomorrow.
And I find it even funnier because it's 100 Thieves this time around who are making the run through the gauntlet. Golden Guardians had done that last time in the summer, so now they're the ones that were in the winner's bracket doing so well, then losing to Team Liquid and having actually knocked down 100 Academy beforehand to get them into the lower bracket.
And I mean, the story there too, of course, 100 Thieves Academy trying to get back as an org, but also Ryoma trying to get back as a player. He has to take down his old team to do so, get that rematch against Harry in the final. Stories write themselves here in Proving Grounds. Excited to see who can top the tables today. It's about to get the first pick ban that we have.
And look at that double up on the jungle bans coming in from Golden Guardians Kenvi, getting a lot of attention, but Hecarim also being banned by 100 Thieves.
So that's curious. Early bans, we were expecting Ryze, Diana to be taken off the table. That was a strategy that Team Liquid had in the Golden Guardians Academy that worked pretty well. I'm expecting a Jinx ban here on 3. I think it's a really good pick for Violet. Would not be surprised though if they also took away that Diana, because thinking back, when these two teams faced each other in that winner's bracket, it was Golden Guardians Academy beating them with the Ryze first pick, and then the Diana Yasuo in the second game. They don't want to deal with that again. Diana's off the table.
So it's got to be the Jinx first pick, right? I mean, the Ahri actually is the one they go for instead. I'm a bit surprised by that.
I think this is really a kind of a symptom of Ahri gaining priority throughout this tournament. The fact that, you have this non-committal engaged mid, you have the resets, you can get pushed and then win the team fights later when you do get those more spirit rushes throughout the fights. Really big for Golden Guardians Academy. We'll see how 100 Thieves respond. Not surprised about the Jinx. Pretty high priority here for both teams. We'll see if they decide to take the Tahm Kench here. Potentially take a jungler if they want to get Kenvi. That champion, Viego, is on the table. Another important champ for both of these teams.
And I'm wondering if Kenvi just grabs it here. They got the Jinx, or do they go for the Tahm Kench instead? I'm a bit surprised by that.
I mean, you lock down the really powerful AD bot duo. Gives
fair.
Jinx some safety. But I expect to see Xayah Rakan.
That's what I'm expecting. That's why I'm surprised that they went for the Tahm Kench so fast.
Xayah Rakan, a lane that, when you do get that charm, that grand entrance onto whoever the TK eats, you can get that 2-for-1 special. Golden Guardians looking to lock that in early. Another pick, of course, that Viego. It's gone all the way through. Did see Kenvi play yesterday. That was one of the big adaptations that they had in their draft against Immortals Academy. Prioritizing this Viego because it was good for Chad instead of that Lee Sin.
Yeah.
It's looking like the hover here. We expect this to be the lock-in.
I'm expecting it, and then probably more jungle bans. Really try to pinch the pool of Iconic.
Yeah, so 100 Thieves, they have a jungler. GGA does not. GGA, they have a mid laner. 100 Thieves does not. So I'm expecting to see a couple mid lane bans thrown out to protect that Ahri, specifically the Syndra. Most likely going to be taken off the table away from Jimian. 100 Thieves, we're expecting to see some jungle bans, but they're not that scared of the jungle, instead trying to take out the Tryndamere. A big pick for them, it has been Gamsu on the gangplank.
Yeah,
and maybe they're trying to set that up for him on the red side.
But, they were talking on the desk about Gnar, how Gamsu's been playing a ton of that in his entire career and how well he can pick that blind. So I'm wondering here, where we see the top lane focus from the side of 100 Thieves, I was wondering if Golden Guardians would answer in kind, but it's as you had called, Cubby. They're focusing on Jimian since he hasn't got that champion locked in just yet.
So at least the Volibear, that's one jungler being taken away from Iconic as he's gone down his pool a little bit. I think important to note, 2 of his 3 most played champs have been taken away. Other 2, his most played is the Sin. That's really heavily fallen out of priority. Maybe we get a Jarvan, but that's pretty tough to play.
I was about to say, I'm like, there is a world where we see something crazy, kind of like a Jarvan, to go well with that Rakan, but as I had called out, the Gnar taken away from Gamsu, really powerful on that champion, so that this gangplank now rises in priority.
I'm still expecting them to take a mid laner because why wouldn't you? And that Twisted Fate, that is a good way to control the Ahri with the gold cards, gives Kenvi something to set up around. Really like this for 100 Thieves Academy. You also give Gamsu the ability to counterpick top, so you can have a Twisted Fate with the winning lane up there to try and attack. I think this is a good setup so far. For GGA, gotta believe at this point, what happens with Ornn? That is something that you can deal with TF roams reasonably well. We'll see what Gamsu ends up following up with that.
We'll have to wait a second, because at the moment, it is going to be Trundle, not going to be that Jarvan. Would have been actually a pretty cool combination to see that with something like Rakan, but I actually kind of like this. You have a lot of tankiness that's built up by that Tahm Kench, and depending on what they want to get into the top lane, if it's going to be that Ornn for Gamsu, a good tank to try to face off against something like Camille for Tony Top, one of those champions he's been playing a lot. Exactly. He's been playing it throughout Proving Grounds, throughout Academy, consistently.
That's going to be the Camille. So that is a way to attack the Jinx, attack the Viego. Tahm Kench will be able to use that Devour to get someone out of that Hex Deck ultimatum, but still, I like this for GGA. I feel like they needed some help with the engage. But Gamsu, this Renekton, it's good here. It's good in the Camille.
So?
You can utilize it to beat the lane. You have Twisted Fate in your back pocket to help out up top as well. And keep in mind, if we think back to Gamsu, his history as a player, what did he pop off in Proving Grounds finals last year? It was that Renekton that helped carry 100 Thieves in that game 3 and 4 against Team Liquid Academy. We see it return to the stage, R5 to play it into Camille here.
Exactly. Really interesting combinations of champions that we see from both squads. Looking over to 100A, they got a lot of good scaling. They got that Jinx, got Viego. You've got good frontliners. Late game, the Renekton more becomes just a stun bot. Same with Tahm Kench. But then also having Twisted Fate in the back pocket to roam around.
Honestly, I think 100 Thieves got everything they wanted in this draft. We think about this team, what they've been doing well throughout the tournament. It is drafting, pushing lanes, and enabling Kenvi to invade. What do they have here? You have counter pick in both your solo lanes. Jinx, Tahm Kench can default, just get pushed throughout these waves. This is going to empower, enable Kenvi to get the invades off and to have that jungle lead try and snowball it into other lanes. When you think about TF, Viego, if they are able to get ahead, they're going to attack top, they're going to attack bot, and things get really difficult for GGA to deal with from there.
But I want to now go on to the other side, looking at GGA, looking at how Golden Guardians can play this game. One thing that I had wondered, we were talking about before we got here onto the stage, was looking towards the bot lane and looking towards Chai on a champion that is enabled to move around the map. And when you have something like Xayah, that gives a lot more agency to Chime to try to move around and really facilitate these other lanes in tandem with Iconic.
I think a lot of it's going to be about surviving the early game and getting to that mid game. Because if you are able to utilize the Rakan engage, get some of those burstier patterns, with Rakan hitting the Grand Entrance plus Charm, you can have Ahri to follow up as well, get resets and play the fight out from there. I think a lot of it's going to be about attacking Viego, but we know how good Kenvi has been throughout this tournament. He has all the tools at his disposal to try and do what Kenvi does.
And here we are. It is our first game together here on the stage, Cubby. It is 100 Thieves Academy, Golden Guardians Academy, and we have some shenaniganeries abound already.
And immediately what I'm looking at, look at Gamsu's summoner spell selection. That's an Ignite on the Renekton. So, I mean, that identity we talked about Twisted Fate, being able to get some of the shove, utilize the gold card to control the Ahri, and then go manipulate sides and go attack. You gotta believe they're gonna be attacking that top side with the Ignite for Gamsu. Really important he's able to have those wave states crash at the right times, not get punished, because if he goes down early, there's no TP to get back and get those extra creeps that, you miss otherwise now, not being able to cheat that tempo. So it's really important to watch Gamsu to see if he's able to execute this top lane correctly.
Well, that's why I said earlier, there is the late game scaling on the side of 100 Thieves, but they have so much proactivity too. They have so much they can do, and I'm glad you called out that Ignite for Gamsu, because it really leans in to utilizing more of this early mid game, especially once you hit level 6 for Jamian to move constantly top lane. Try to make sure Gamsu is absolutely snowballing ahead.
And that's the early game plan for Kenvi, right? Is start on that blue buff, go bot to top. It looks like Iconic's going to match as well. And I think all eyes are really going to be on, where does Kenvi make that first move? So I think that's something that Kenvi has done so well in the jungle. He is first in first blood rate. 2/3 of the games that Kenvi's playing, he is getting first blood. Also, third highest gold diff at 10 in the tournament, plus 368. Woo! That's how good Kenvi's early games have been. And again, this is a setup for 100 Thieves where you gotta believe that Kenvi can execute.
Yeah, but then it's also into Tony Top on this Camille. This is a champion that he's played a lot throughout the spring, but also we've seen Tony Top really level up during this Proving Ground. During the season, had some low stats, some in the negatives, especially when you look at gold diff at 15. But now you look at him, he's positive. He's constantly looking to play aggressively, such as he can do on things like this Camille.
I do want to revisit the top lane real quick, because looking at the jungle clears for Iconic, he's doing the fastest clear that you can do to get to top lane healthy. So going red Raptors into the Gromp doesn't look like he's going to attack with Gamsu. He's in a rather vulnerable state. That's some of the power of the Renekton, right?
Yeah.
Can't get up there early. Even in that situation, he can get out pretty safely. Whereas Kenvi, going for that full clear for the Viego, he will skip the Krugs and go towards this top crab. We'll see where Iconic decides to go. He does have the option to try and match, but the solo lanes would not be helping him, so I'm expecting them to rotate back bot.
Though I will say, people always underestimate the skirmishing potential of a Trundle early game, especially into something like Viego. He can really bully him, but as you had talked about, the lane priority is going to make it really difficult for Iconic, and seeing that he's on the Wolves right now, calling over Tony Top, they're looking for a play around mid.
Iconic's wrapping around. He decides to look at this top crab.
Oh, he didn't see him.
But Kenby snuck in here.
Okay, Flash, they got the gold card, but they didn't get the follow-up knockup coming in from Busio. They got a lot of damage onto Ryoma. That X-Factor Busio is talking about working out for first blood.
And this is the bot push. Jinx, Wixie went for that 3-wave cheater recall. Busio, instead of matching that, walks mid, and 100 Thieves, that wasn't even a clean execution.
No.
They didn't land the Viegos, they didn't land the TK knockup, but it just doesn't matter.
Because Gold Guard, watch Jimmy in here. He's pretty low, but he understands he's got his teammates there. They got the flash, and after that, there's no escape for Ryoma.
And I love this 400 Thieves, because again, if you get this Twisted Fate ahead early, if he's able to have first move, the other lanes get so much more difficult for Golden Guardians. Tony Top already under pressure facing the counter pick Renekton, and then this Zyra Khan, it does get stronger in this lane as you pick up levels, but if Twisted Fate's able to get down bot first, affect that matchup, you don't have the confidence to push up and really push the limits of the matchup like we've seen other bot lanes do. So really good start for 100 Thieves.
Well, right here, a little bit of trade back and forth, looking for the knockup on a Violet. Not going to connect it this time around. Busio, Wixie, they're fine. They got Kenby in the back pocket, getting a lot of damage onto these members. They even got the root, and they got the kill onto Chime. That root from Violet was way too late, and that engage coming in from Kenby picks up a double kill for himself.
And Kenby, the counter gank there at the right time. I believe he had the reset. Iconic did not able to utilize that to punish. We talked about how good Kenby was in the early game. 3rd in the tournament, gold diff at 10. Look at his start to the game. 3-0-0, utilizing that sheen he got early.
And looking at this replay, it looks like a good play initially from Golden Guardians, but they don't respect the reset coming in from Kenby.
I mean, they're trying to just get the wave in. And I don't think this is a situation where you fight 100 Thieves bot lane. You have to get the wave in so Violet can get a reset. Because Wixie's sitting on Cole. Violet has yet to base, so taking this fight, yes, you have the wave in your back pocket, but just work on getting that wave in, make sure you can get the reset, live to fight another day with better items after, because they fight the bot lane, because the jungler of 100 Thieves is there. That's a losing situation, and it is a massive lead for 100 Thieves Academy early.
And right now, Golden Guardians are looking for some scraps, some ways to get back into the game, because they have fallen in quite the hole early on. It's only 5.5 minutes into the game, granted. But you need to make sure you're climbing yourself back, especially because we look over to the other side. We didn't get to talk about this before because the plays kept happening. But we get to see that there is still that Cole that was built up by Wixie initially, so he's trying to go for that mid game.
I think at this point, just Chime, I mean, you don't walk straight back bot there. Let Zaya take all that CS. You know they're not going to continue to attack when you are coming out of that gray screen. So looking optimistically for a play mid. Jimmy able to get out of that, but that's something that we're going to need to watch from Golden Guardians because Chime has been a fantastic support. This split of Academy. I know that you thought that Chime was the most valuable prospect. Most of us have Chime. You know, it's Ayla then Chime, and I know for Chime being able to make it to face Team Liquid to prove that he could be the best support that we have in Proving Grounds. That's something that he really wants to show. He's going to have to get through this series and be a big part of Golden Guardians and their success. His roams have been phenomenal throughout this split. He's going to need to find the right timers, especially around mid, if he wants to help his team get back in this game and overcome this massive 2K gold deficit early.
At the moment, they're still struggling to find that foothold onto the map. With Kenby showing mid, Iconic was nearby. He is only level 5. Even if they have some vision control, they don't have that lane priority.
Yeah, they didn't have control bot either. As Busio, Wixie, they have first move, still have the itemization advantage, and they're just going to use that to start up the Dragon.
Should be a free 1-2. Not expecting to see a contest come in from the side of Golden Guardians. Giving up that Infernal Dragon, not the biggest deal, right? I know you're not the biggest fan of the Infernal Soul, Infernal Dragons at all, but I'm looking at this play and just getting that early stacking for 100 Thieves to make sure that they can continue to get out of control, where Golden Guardians need to survive the early game to get to mid game.
I just textbook play from 100 Thieves Academy. Because, I mean, from here, Kenby, he's been able to clear bot the top, and that could be the window where they look to attack Tony top. We've yet to see the port used by Jimmy's Twisted Fate, and that's really we're going to be looking to see next. Where does Jimmy go? I'm still expecting him to look to attack this top side, leave that Jinx Tahm Kench to their own device. Of course, Jinx, that is that late game insurance, but you want to utilize some of the power of this early Renekton,
which we haven't seen yet.
And to be fair, I mean, 100 Thieves have been finding positive plays elsewhere. Gamsu does have a little bit of a lead on his own. Will be able to eat that wave that's bigger than Tony Tops, but you can use Renekton to really punish. We'll see if that ends up being the plan here for 100 Thieves Academy. Instead, Kenby has stuck into the bot side. Jimmy's hovering. Do they go for the dive?
Oh, easily. There's that Destiny Gate open up wide, and they've got the gold card. They've got the roots, the wild card to pick up the kill for Jimmy.
Easy feed, and hey, why go top and help the Renekton? We can just keep on getting Jinx in your bot lane ahead, putting Golden Guardians behind. Very clean setup coming out of 100 Thieves Academy.
I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better, right? It was just textbook. We look at all these plays so far that have been committed by 100 Thieves. Only that first initial play was a little bit but ever since then, it's been very clean.
And getting Jinx this far ahead, too, when you have that Tahm Kench to utilize the Devours, how do Golden Guardians deal with it? I mean, if you get Charmed, you just get eaten. Hextech Ultimatum, you get eaten. It really is going to have to be on Chime to try and lock up the Tahm Kench and the Jinx with those engages. Not an easy task.
I got an idea.
Okay.
Are you ready for it? I don't think you're ready for it.
I'm never ready for it, man.
AP Recon.
No, I was not ready for that. I don't want to see it.
Why?
All right, moving on.
Okay. Ryoma getting that blue buff, nice secure for the side of Golden Guardians, but the problem is they have no river control. Top, bot, you look at every single lane at the moment, while bot lane is crashing for Golden Guardians Academy, it's just that time. Wixie was resetting at the moment so he can get those Noon Quivers, so he can get the Berserker's Graves, get back into lane, and not have to worry about a damn thing.
Speaking of worrying, Tony Top just have a big wave crashing up here. Kenvi was spotted. I really like this hover from Chime. Even though there's going to be no play from 100 Thieves Academy, just really good presence of mind from the support of Golden Guardians, who, of course, has played on this big stage before with Golden Guardians LCS. Good hover, even though it doesn't amount to anything this time around, is he's going to make his way mid.
Yeah, just kind of sauntering by. Then I'm here to support. I'm here to look for a play on a
nice
Jimian with the gold
sidesteps.
card. Exactly. Jimian was already there. He has a Cleanse
boy.
too. He's safe, but guess who's not safe? Tony Top is the one who has to be careful. No flash available. Ultimatum laid down, but death is assured for 100 Thieves.
Easy peasy. The flash commit from Gamsu makes sure that they are able to pick up that kill. As Tony Top, he doesn't have TP, so this should be another plate going over to the Rakton, and 100 Thieves continue to build upon this gold lead against Golden Guardians Academy.
And Golden Guardians, they are looking for any play possible, anything to get them some gold back on the map, like right there, put in the pillar for Booster, so he casts a flash and use the heal to escape, but that's so much burn just to get that.
And look at Ryoma. He was hovering. They were thinking about maybe making this die, but he's wiser to it because Kenvi instantly reset, came down to hover bot, so there's no return play for Golden Guardians. And yes, it's Summoner's down for Busio, but who cares? They survive, they get the wave, and might even look to turn
I thought they were
around.
going to go for it.
No.
100% look at Kenvi.
No
He's got 100% kill participation, Cubby. This guy is absolutely out of control on Viego.
Might have been an overextension. I think 100 Thieves Academy, they're going to back off. Just continue.
What do you mean overextension?
Continue to wait to set up another Twisted Fate play. I feel like that's the next play. For
Nah,
100
you
Thieves
go
Academy.
for it. You have full send it, man. I believe.
Hey, you know what? We saw a lot of blood yesterday. We had a 60
what I
kill
want
game,
today.
51 minutes. If you guys missed the series yesterday
Game
against
2.
Immortals Academy, got to go check out that game 2. It was one of the crazier games we've had all split. As you know, knowing you, Matt, magically probably feel slighted you didn't get that game.
100% slighted. Not even slightly.
You know, well, I'll see what I can do for you. Maybe we can run it back today.
I would appreciate that. Much appreciated.
I don't think either of these teams want it, but
No teams want it, but I want it. That's much more important. Like right here, they want to get
nice
this kill onto Tony
cancel.
Top. He's got no escape. That happened last time too, Cubby, so they have a clean kill once more.
Gamsu landing the stun, preventing the hook shot, textbook Renekton play. And this is what I was concerned about with the draft that Golden Guardians Academy had against 100 Thieves, because you have pushing lanes early and a jungler that can invade. This has been what 100 Thieves Academy had utilizing to make it this far in the tournament. And keep in mind, this team was the worst team we had in Academy in the second round robin. 5-13, averaging being down over 500 gold at the 15-minute mark. This tournament, up over 2,000 gold at the 15-minute mark. They've been dominant.
Oh, that's
but
a
small
good
mistake
play
there.
from the side of Golden Guardians, catching out Kenvi on rotation. Jimmy and the next one to fall surely. He's got flash available, so he does escape, but only just barely.
Much needed play for Golden Guardians Academy. They need anything right now to try and get themselves back in this one. That is a start. And that kill is over to Ryoma. He's trying to make it back to that grand final, trying to take down his old org in the process. We'll see what he can do with that. Everfrost done. That is playmaking potential for Golden Guardians. That might be the path back. Ryoma looking for those Everfrost optimistically, trying to find that non-committal proactive engage. Move on from there.
Well, this is Ryoma's time to show that he is the best mid laner in this competition. He was talking about that when we had the interviews, that he is the one you have to keep your eyes out for.
It's just a good catch coming out from Golden Guardians. His Chime iconic not spotted. Can be walking into that bot and Bankman brush when they have no vision. Look at that bot side of the map. Golden Guardians lit that up like a Christmas tree. 100 Thieves wants to go get that present top, taking down the Camille. Golden Guardians able to find something in return, not respecting that weak side. Really good play from them. Then we'll see if Gamsu respects this. This could get dicey.
Could get
He has
dicey,
Ignite.
but look at how big he is at the moment.
Got
Look at the
Ignite.
fight back. There's the ultimatum, and that is actually just a shutdown gifted over to Tony Top.
Hey, wasn't able to get up that empowered Cole to Meek, and that Jinx Rocket goes wide. That's a very positive kill going over to Golden Guardians Academy. A shutdown as well going over to the pockets of Tony Top, but
He needs it.
100 Thieves Academy, they're not giving that up for free. At least they pick up that second dragon, keep on sprinting towards that Dragon Soul win condition.
But you want that for Golden Guardians. You're willing
That was
to
much
trade
needed.
that
Much
because
needed.
they need it. It's 2 shutdowns they have now picked up. One on Kenvi and one on Gamsu.
We get to see Golden Guardians coming to life again. This is a comp that we felt like spiked, past that 1.5, 2 item mark.
And they're getting there.
They are getting there, but it's very punishing on their way as Violet. Oh, no.
That's Destiny Gate opened up, and that's a gold card. That's a lot of damage on a poor Violet. Now Chime's in danger. Ryoma, you're in danger too. 1v4, an excited Jinx. The zap connecting, but no follow-up. They'll take their 2 kills on the bot lane.
And Ryoma tried the counter, but again, Iconic's not there. He was on the top side with that play that just happened for Gamsu. The fact that Iconic shows there, 100 Thieves knows that play is free. Attack bot yet again, and this Jinx continues to sprint forward. First brick going over in the Jinx's pockets, and objective bounties are already on the map for Golden Guardians. That's how dominant this early game has been for 100 Thieves.
5,000 gold up as well. We take a look at this play, and it's pretty
Look at
much...
Iconic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's too far. He can't do anything.
They just gang top. I mean, Ryoma's ahead of this with a Twisted Fate. Ryoma reads that this is coming, but it's too many numbers. Wixie up 2 levels against Violet because of the post plays we've seen as Busio.
Oh, this is looking like a good play from Golden
Busio's
Guardians.
dead.
They've got Busio, but they want Kenvi. That's really the one they need to take out, but they can't continue to chase that down, especially now that he's got that hollowed.
He's out.
He's out of there. He's invisible, and even using the blast cone just in case.
And hey, we got a Cloud Soul helping out a little bit as well. Helping him sprint.
Zoom!
Well, yeah, a little bit of zoom there for Kenvi. So we got our zoomers on the Rift. A little bit of a mistake. Didn't quite see how that one panned out as we were in the replay. But it will be another kill going over to Golden Guardians.
Was that meant to be a joke, Cubby, about the zoomers?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay, just making sure, because right now Chime, he's dead. There's not really a way to get out of that one. He dies to the zoomer over there in Wixie, taken out easily, so they can now look to take down another structure.
And this is what 100 Thieves can do. They broke that first turret, rotate your marksman, and look at how far ahead Wixie is. Has the Gale Force, has the Zeo item, and then you put this Fed Jinx behind the gold cards at Jimian. You give him the Devour as well from Busio's Tom Kench. Wixie isn't able to play so far up on the map, and I just don't know how Golden Guardians are able to deal with this early.
Neither do I. That's the thing we kind of were talking about before. Surviving that early game, and they clearly have not done so.
And more and more neutrals are going to start to bleed over to the side of 100 Thieves Academy as that second Rift Turtle being taken by Kenvi right now.
Oh, Wixie! Taken down Ryoma. Killing spree to his name as well. No need for the rocket either.
Hey, but we'll take a couple bonus crits there as Wixie. He's below 50% crit, but that's 100% kill good over when you take in that Gale Force as Kenvi. He has his ult.
But now Kenvi
nice
looks
killer.
like he's dead.
Nice
He's trying to get back towards Busio, even using that ult to
eat.
get there. But no eat from the side of Busio, no way to get out.
That's too bad. That Devour just coming off cooldown now. Kenvi tried to read it, but no flash. That really nice pillar from Iconic. Another shutdown going over to Golden Guardians Academy. So it still is a game very heavily in favor of 100 Thieves Academy, but at least we see GG trying to find a couple proactive plays to just punish some of these overextension from 100 Thieves, but still, it's such a doomsday scenario. And what we have
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Cubby. Look at the gold difference between Wixie and Violet at the moment.
And for this bot lane, 100 Thieves, this is a big deal. These guys, again, they're rookies this split.
Yeah.
They're doing this against Chime, one of the better supports, if not the first or second best support we have in the league, and then Violet, who was at Worlds last year. I mean, this is a lot of help that the team's investing. The Twisted Fate, Kenvi gangs, they all helped with Wixie. Props to him. He has this lead, and he's been running with it, utilizing his individual play to keep on pushing it forward. As he's stuck mid, they do see Ryoma bot at the moment, and power TPs are up, so they have more power to respond to plays. We can see Jimian tracking Gamsu. Wherever Jimian's at with these gold cards, that's where to look for 100 Thieves Academy to make plays.
I was about to say, is Wixie really stuck mid lane? Is he really? He's got so much more gold over Violet. You could see the crits that connected onto Violet, took him down to half. there's no real way that Golden Guardians can stand up to them at the moment. They've got such a lead, and now they're looking for a play topside. They've even got a TP expended. The ultimatum dodged out from the gold card, but they still got a 1-for-1 trade at the moment with Ryoma getting the charm onto Jimmy and looking for the chase down with the Spirit Rush as well. The gold card, it will save his life, but look where Chime is. A pillar to cut off the retreat. Shut down for Iconic.
Much needed from Golden Guardians. They sync up. Another good pillar from Iconic as the pillar for 100 Thieves Academy falls in. Gamsu in the top lane. But still, it's not for free. Look at Wixie and Iconic. You can't do that.
No, you don't walk up to Wixie. Wixie walks up to you.
Hold on,
unless
Shine.
you can get this nice quickness in the back line looking for Wixie, but that's a massive shield gifted by Devour, so you cannot continue to hunt down Wixie unless you flash
split.
for it. Maybe they can, but he's now got
TP.
Iconic so low with the TP
no.
coming in. They already lost one in the fight with the resets coming in from Genji. Looking for the trade back onto Tony top, but Tony does not have ultimatum to lock down Wixie this time around, so they have to bail.
And with the jungler down for Golden Guardians Academy, Cloud Dragon's now up. 100 Thieves should be able to hop on this for free. Take it. That is what that soul point for them is they're one dragon away from Cloud Soul. At least in return, Golden Guardians Academy, Ryoma committed the TP to start or join that top lane play in the first place. He stuck around and did take the first turret. That isn't an objective bounty. Let's take a second look though. It's Gamsu. He does take aggro, but props to Tony Top. Him walking up here, utilizing that ultimate to dodge out on the gold card, Neverfrost. He at least bought the time to make sure that Gamsu went down. Jimmy went down after. That's really the first play we've seen where Golden Guardians was able to respond and have that play end somewhat in their favor, at least in the top side before they went mid. Before 100 Thieves picked up that third dragon, as it's still 6K gold differential. 100 Thieves Academy looking good in our first game.
Looking fantastic, carrying that momentum from yesterday. Their last two games where they absolutely dominated Immortals Academy. Looking like a similar story here in our first game against Golden Guardians. This huge streak this team has been on throughout Proving Grounds. Really, they do have the Proving Grounds buff at the moment.
And really how this team has improved, how they have come together. It's not just 1-2 players stepping up, it's everyone as a squad stepping up. And I mean, keep in mind, 100 Thieves Academy, they got 2-0'd by GG in the winner's bracket. That's what knocked them down in the loser's bracket. This is a rematch. And game one, 100 Thieves Academy, they're proving that they are a different team, not the same squad that GG 2-0'd as they moved on to take down TLA. They have improved. They have continued this arc and are trying to continue to push to make this gauntlet run and play all 3 days this weekend, hold the trophy at the end. Not close to being there yet, but still, every step they take in the process has been good for 100 Thieves Academy. They're continuing that today.
At the moment, 100 Thieves are getting a lot of control around the map, slowly encroaching onto the territory of Golden Guardians so they can at least squeeze out the life from the team. Now we're at 6,600 gold lead for the side of 100 Thieves.
Oh, boy. One zap Gale Force is the ult from Violet. That's how strong Wixie is right now.
Yep. And honestly, if we checked out the gold again, we'd probably see it's not exactly double, but it's close enough between the two.
No live math on air, but I'd say 3.5K is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Look,
it's actually 4.5K. That's
wait,
why we don't do live
Ryoma?
math.
He went into them. He just jumped
dead.
right there. Now he's gonna die to an unstoppable
Look at
Wixie,
Wixie.
and they've got the resets of bound so they can chase down Iconic, knock him into the air as well. With the zap, with the double kill for 10v.
And that's Baron over to 100 Thieves. I'm not quite sure how Ryoma got caught out there, but it was the traps from the Jinx, as Jinx from Arcane melting through the side of Golden Guardians Academy. They push their lead forward. They're going to take down this Baron. And game one, it's been all 100 Thieves.
From the get-go, they've had so much control. Excellent plays here and there and everywhere in between. They've got themselves a Baron at just shy of 22 minutes, and they are looking to close out this game relatively fast to what we saw yesterday.
And again, we looked at the straps that this is everything the 100 Thieves Academy wants.
Yeah.
But then to get that and not only, get a draft you like, but execute upon that in game one. No more stage nerves as Ryoma pushing too far. A great sidestep from Wixie, but that's a very opportunistic play, especially when you have the Tom Kench right next to you. Even if you hit that charm, it's going to get eaten, you're going to get saved, and Ryoma, he bites the dust for it. Baron bites the dust for it as that big purple worm is now sitting on the members of 100 Thieves Academy. And I look to utilize that to melt the rest of the bases. They do have 2 inner turrets to work through, but I think it's all about getting an inhibitor and trying to take down this Cloud Soul. It's going to be up in 90 seconds, but till then, Gamsu.
Got a flash. Getting a flash is nice for the side of Golden Guardians, but they're still down 10K. That doesn't
My God,
really
Jimmy.
save them from that unless they can get this kill on a Jimmy with a nice charm coming in from Ryoma. Jimmy's still alive, though. He's got Ignite ticking, but he went golden to survive, and here's the rest of the team. They've gotten one kill with another going golden.
Candy,
They're trying to see if they
Candy.
can get this back out, but they got the kill coming in from Deadman. They're looking to see if they can chase them down, but look at Wixie chasing down Golden Guardians. A kill on Ryoma. Time the next one to fall. A triple kill for 100 Thieves and one final kill on top of Iconic. Do they give the quadra kill over to Wixie? You better bet they do. They're chasing it down, but instead, they're letting him escape. No, not again. We've seen this before from 100 Thieves. Just get the kill, damn it, please. Just don't let him go.
Well, Iconic's gonna keep on running, trolling around, but their objectives are going to fall. That's more turrets going over to the side. 100 Thieves Academy as GG. They thought they had the Soul Lanterns. 100 Thieves caught up, but once Kennedy joined the fight, once Wixie joined the fight, frontline Jinx was too much for the side of Golden Guardians Academy to deal with.
Still chasing Cubby.
We're still going, but the
there we go,
objectives
finally.
keep on falling as that is the second inhibitor turret. Wixie gonna take down the second inhibitor from Golden Guardians as this game, once again, it's been all 100 Thieves.
What a great play by Jimmy. Kiting back that play for so long, even if he gets cut out, it helps the rest of 100 Thieves collapse. And you can see here from that play, they got, what, 2 inhibitors off it? They only lost the life of Jimmy, and they get the top side tier 2.
Yeah, and we'll see how hard they push for this Cloud Soul. Again, I don't even think Golden Guardians get out of their base, so that's going to be going over to 100 Thieves Academy for free. And what a difference from yesterday. I mean, we think back to that first game that 100 Thieves Academy played against Immortals. Stage nerfs, right? I mean, Pop Smithy, GM, even tweeted about it, said, you know, once the guys got over themselves, we started to play the League of Legends that we know this squad can play. Game 1 today, it feels like those stage nerves are not a thing anymore. This has been the 100 Thieves that has been dominating throughout Proving Grounds, throughout their lower bracket run. And Golden Guardians, they're the ones that are going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what to do.
And look at this play. It looked a little iffy from Jimmy at first.
That was an
But
aggressive
the
TP.
fact that he is able to kite this back out for so long, the rest of his team are able to show up. Just going golden there is enough time to buy for his team.
I mean, look at Wixie here. I was like looking at Kenvy, looking at him to get the resets, but Wixie, he doesn't even care about the front line. He's like, I'm going straight for the carries of Golden Guardians, man. I got this. As the Zap connects, the Flash Rocket connects on the Chime, and Golden Guardians just no leg to stand on in this game. They're going to get back onto the map. 100 Thieves, gotta believe they're trying to end the game on this push. Empowered with Cloud Soul. Baron is down, but 14.5k gold lead.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And you know, in games like this, Cubby, I kind of look towards Golden Guardians and what they can do. Since it is a best of 5 series that we have, this is one of those games you just drag out so you can plan the next one. Because we know there's not much you can do against a Fed Jinx like this. Not 8-0 and 7, absolutely massive. You need to make sure you're getting a game plan for the next one because you're just getting caught out like that.
Boy.
Look at those crits coming in.
Oh,
Legendary Zoomer Boom and them Boomers.
And that's going to be Chime falling. Got to believe the Golden Guardians close to fall as well as the emotes are coming out. And yeah, I mean, for Golden Guardians, maybe you thought you could play into the Viego of Kenvy. That could have been one of the thoughts. Maybe you prioritize the Zyra Khan that has been so powerful for the side of 100 Thieves Academy over that Viego. I feel like we're going to see that change. Maybe a side swap as well. As this game, the strategy just did not work out for Golden Guardians.
They might
top.
pick on the Gomsu. No, they don't. He gets back to the team, and
Oh,
there's
no.
Jimmy getting the kill on Ryoma on the other side with Violet going up into the air, but still in a lot of trouble. Nice charm connect on Jimmy, but not a kill that can connect. They've got the dive. They're looking for it. They want an ace 10 this game, Cubby. Game 1 is 100 Thieves, and it's been since moment 5. They have controlled the Golden Guardians throughout it all, and they want to get up to that 1-0 lead to start off and look to see if they can get closer and closer to the finals.
I mean, we just picked up right where we left off yesterday. You think about that game 4 that 100 Thieves played into Immortals. It looked a lot like this. I mean, once they got a lead, they do not drop it. They know how to snowball, and you give 100 Thieves pushing lanes and a jungler that can invade. This is what happens when they have a good game. I think that this is just the textbook strat we've been seeing 100 run in this tournament. GG couldn't come up with the answer in game 1, so they have a better answer for game 2.
I mean, it's going to be hard because right there, they just gave up everything to 100 Thieves. They gave.
I mean, some denies, right? Like, if I'm giving up everything to 100 Thieves, Zyra Khan's on that list, right? They decided to, take that lane in response to the Jinx Tom Kench, but that first pick, Ahri, yes, it was important yesterday for Immortals and in that series, but you look at everything else that 100 Thieves had, and they were able to counterpick the rest of the lanes. They had that strong pushing bot lane, and then you have pushing lanes with Kenvy who can walk into the jungle. there was no way that Golden Guardians could defend against that.
And it's fair. It's just a really good game from the side of 100 Thieves, picking up that first game. And before we head back to the Proving Grounds desk powered by Verizon, we have a few words from Gamsu on his improvement between Academy and the Proving Grounds.
I think in regular season, I just try like lots of different things. Even like I just try like different setups. Like I try like window mode, or like sometimes I try like full screen, and like because I'm not scared of like losing regular split. But Proving Ground, I have to do my best. So like I just try to be the best at everything.
Welcome on back, everyone, to the Proving Grounds, powered by Verizon. Get to hear a little bit from Gamsu in that one. A little bit of the ideas behind the machinations of 100 Thieves, and
Patrick.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Papa Smithy was right. No more stress, no more nerves for 100 Thieves. They came out smashing Surdy.
Almost a 20,000 gold lead at 26 minutes. That is actually insane.
That looked like the 100 Thieves in Game 4 yesterday when they just destroyed Immortals, complete dismantling. And I feel like one of the big things that I was looking at during the series, like I felt Golden Guardians were slightly favored going in, but if someone was going to get a 3-0, it was going to be 100 Thieves. And at that kind of game, like Golden Guardians, you have to be incredibly mentally resilient to be able to come back from that.
Yeah, it's like a boxing match opening, but the first punch is a haymaker. You gotta figure out how to come back from it.
I mean, I love the boys in Golden Guardians. I'm friends with a few of them, but they're not the most mentally resilient team in my experience with them in scrims. So
they will have to find a way, though.
let's see if they can bounce back.
There's a long series to go after that first game, especially. But Sturdy, we have you on the desk here, and you've been known to be a little bit of a risky player. No risky experiences. So we're gonna have a little fun here. We're gonna play a little game called Flip or No Flip. And you're gonna, we have some plays from this last game, and we're gonna have you decide if it's a flip angle or a no flip angle, and if it's a good flip or a bad flip. So I believe the first one we do have is Ryoma positioning on a wave while bot lane has priority.
Yes. Okay. So pretty much in this bot lane matchup, how it works from my knowledge is that the only time that the Jinx and the Tomkench will get prio this entire game is before like first base. So on first wave, because Jinx has access to a rocket, so she gets pushed in every matchup, pretty much. Yeah. Unless there's some like egregious.
Zarya has to hit you with the feathers.
Yes, exactly. And even if Zarya hits you with the feathers, she's not going to have enough wave core.
Exactly.
So the only window that their support could ever move and they could make this kind of play to shut down Ryoma was right then, at that exact time. And then from that point onwards, it would always be the Rakan who has the move, setting up the Ahri to move and then go and dive the side lanes, such as diving the bot lane, which I think was their play this game, / covering top. But because the mid lane exploded early, they then have control of mid. Kenvi gets to move down without being threatened from the Ahri's TP. They dive bot, and then Jinx is one lane versus other games.
Yeah.
It's a must-needed flip.
I mean, is it even a flip?
I mean, I don't think it's a
a
flip from 100 Thieves. I think that they played it really well. I just think Ryan was griefing on that wave.
Yeah, I agree. I don't, in the sense of like flip or no flip, like it's not a flip, but not because it was a bad play. It was just the thing that you're supposed to do. And you kind of got a sense that Golden Guardians were trying to respond to it because we saw that Iconic was just hovering on the top side of the wave, but they were slow to respond. And Busio missed the W.
Yeah, I know. They
target.
missed the W. They missed the Viego W on the stun target as well, and they still kill him.
Yeah.
That's how far out Ryan was playing.
Yeah.
And I think the narrative that we talked of before this game, the emotion was playing a lot into how Ryan was positioning in lane. He's a really good player. He does not make mistakes like these normally.
Yeah, it's a lot of the hyphiness being on stage, that kind of stuff. And especially because of the way that he is as a player, right? Using a lot of that as forward momentum for himself. So
yeah, I mean, I've been in that situation too. I know how it feels. I know how it is.
And, being able to take maybe some risky plays, but as you said, it was a much needed play and a risk there, at least in all actuality. But I believe we do have the second clip that I am not quite sure. Remember what it was. It was the top lane play that we were looking at. And the flip or no flip here, Surdy, because this one was a little bit tight.
Now, this play specifically is like something where if Gamsu was Dokla, he kills them both, in my opinion. If you look at Renekton's Fury bar, he is about 43 before he uses his W on the Camille. If he just auto Ws the Camille and cancels his auto attack, he hits the Fury threshold. He goes through the shield. The stun is extended, which means that Camille can't use the true damage Q, and he will one-shot her because his Q's back up. Then he gets Triumph, and he can kill the Rakan too, or the Rakan's forced to back off.
Yeah.
They have to somehow snowball the Camille, because the Camille, after the bot booms like that, is the only win con. They have to go through side. They have to move Ryoma, push out of side, and then have Ryoma shadow the Camille, so that if TF matches, they win the 2v2.
Yeah.
That's the win con from
I thought that was, you know, I think a lot of people watching Twitch chat will look at that gank and be like, that seemed pretty standard. I don't know why we're looking at this again, but it is because, like, again, Gamsu one auto attack away from getting the extra stun, getting the shield breaker, and just killing Tony top
he will kill Tony instantly.
Yeah,
like,
and so
he just one-shots him.
Yeah, with Trundle on the other side, right? You know, the Conqueror stacks will come up, and it's, you know, you're pretty naturally, as Runecta, you're at your strongest point in the game, or like one of the strongest points.
You are at your single strongest point in the
Yeah.
game. He has his Gold Drinker. He has Mythic advantage over Camille. He has a level lead. He has everything that he needs. He was like 1,500 gold up at that point. The only way for Golden Guardians to possibly come back in that game, and it would take a lot more than just this, but this was the first step, was for Gamsu to die here. Now, I think if it was anybody but the Rakan, he dies there 100% of the time. So I don't necessarily think he should be there in the first
Well, it was
place.
the Trundle. It was the Trundle.
It was the Trundle, not the Rakan?
Yeah, it was the Trundle.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know.
Either way, he kills the Camille.
So then,
Definitely.
what I'm hearing here is that was where you would have flipped. You would have gone for that 2v1 play.
Yeah, I mean, I would have because of how far ahead I am of Camille.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty confident that you can 1v2, and at the very least, you will trade 1-for-1. And if you do trade 1-for-1, you draw the enemy's jungle pressure topside, you can make a play on the other side of the map with your Fed Jinx, and the game just accelerates.
All right.
It's something I used to do on EGP with Danny, where both of us would kind of just like smash both sides of the map at the same time. They have to answer one. The one they don't answer, we just blow up.
Okay, I like it. So the top lane could have gone the way, you know, if you were up there, you would have taken those minute mathematics.
I mean, not just me. I think
most people do.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense where, like, was Gamsu allowed to play that for up? Yeah.
He was.
You know, it's a small execution error, and if we see, you know, as you said, if somebody with a little bit more mechanical prowess and is able to think through it instead of kind of panicking when the gank comes around, it's definitely a situation where they can play it better. But, you know, for this one spot, I feel like for the rest of the game, like, Gamsu plays, he's not the reason why they're winning. Like, Henry was totally taking control, but Gamsu played the game pretty well.
Gamsu did play the game like very well overall. He knew what he had to do, especially something that you'll look at is around level 4 when Camille was pushing back into the Renekton. He stops Camille from being able to crash and get her base off without having to use TP, which forces her to TP back, which means when they do inevitably dive her with the Twisted Fate or with the Viego or whoever they dive with, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking before the series and the show, you know, about what happens when there's pressure, but when nothing happens in the lane, and when you have a little bit of that confidence. So for this next one, looks like a little bit of a catch out potentially, but I need to know, is this flip or no flip here?
This is most definitely a flip. This was the single biggest flip of the entire game, and this is exactly what we said would happen with Ryoma if Golden Guardians is put in this kind of a position.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, if you're Ryoma in this spot, do you go for that play?
I'm not sure I'd go for that play specifically.
But you're looking for something.
I would, in the next few minutes, like after that, I would probably end up killing myself looking for something.
Yeah, and I respect it, right?
The second they get Baron, Jinx recalls, she has IE,
Yeah.
they're Baron minions. The only play after that is the one that we're going to head into, which is the only option Golden Guardians have from that point onwards.
That's one of the conversations I
So
like to
you
have
need
a
to
lot.
kill them before they get Baron, or else you're just put in check.
Yeah.
It's about risk tolerance, right? Like when you are super far behind, like yes, that play might look like it's 10, 20% to be generous about whether or not it's actually going to work, but your odds of winning the game are something like 5 to 10%. And suddenly that 20% is looking real good.
That's looking really, really good. Like you need to do that. That is a hallmark of a good player.
Yeah.
They say that Ryoma doesn't really have that X factor, but that is what he needs to do in order to carry a game like this.
And I think, you were talking about yourself a little bit earlier. We were saying, I like to think of myself as somebody who's going to make a lot of controlled plays. I don't necessarily like looking for risks inherently, but when I'm behind, I'm the kind of player who recognizes, like, well, I got to change my mindset and how we actually play this game. I feel like Ryoma is demonstrating the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to look at the other side of the matchup because in this next one, looks like Jimmy got caught a little bit, but you guys had a bit of a different take here.
Quotation marks.
Yes, quotation marks on God. So flip or no flip, Serdy? What you got?
This right here from Golden Guardians is a flip, but it is a needed flip. Unlike the other one where Ryanway doesn't necessarily have to take that window, but he does have to look for something. The only time that they have any chance to stay in this game now is if they kill somebody before the minions, the Baron-empowered minions, hit the inhibitor towers. Because the second that happens, they're all linked up, they're too close together for you to pick anybody, and Golden Guardians does not have the wave clear to ever stop that push.
Ari's not stopping it, Lethality Zaya isn't stopping it, like Camille can't interact
they
with the
have
wave.
to kill somebody before the minions hit the inhib towers or they lose the game.
Yeah, and I feel like they're just gotten so outranged at this point in the game, right? Like they have kind of, like they have Rakan, they have Camille, so they have like what I like to call a lot of secondary engage tools. They're really good on following up if somebody can get the fight started, but you're going up against, I don't know if Jimmy had rapid fire cannon completed already at that point, but it's still like, you're just waiting for Twisted Fate to throw out a gold card. You can't line up in Siege. You have to try and find something. And so
you have to.
One of the things that you were calling out again is like Jimmy, and we've seen him go for a lot of these defensive plays where he makes these big escapes. And we also see him, you know, when he gets caught out in the side lanes, he's not really caught. You'll watch 100 Thieves immediately collapse.
I mean, he's a player with a lot of experience. He knows that that's the only thing they can do. And so he's happy with just giving it to them, saying, okay, you're all going to die after, and we'll just win the game anyway.
Yeah.
It just speeds it up a little bit.
And it's almost
So
like...
go ahead.
The one other thing is like, you know, 100 Thieves, they can respond and save Jimin's life, but it's also like, okay, well, we can just take your inhib now, right? Like, that's kind of the checkmate that Jimin puts them in. It's like, there's no winning situation. Jimin is fine to be here because there's so much threat on the rest of the map.
Yeah.
Either way, they're going to get the super minions, and 4v5 without the Twisted Fate, they still win.
Yeah, easy.
If they play front to back, the Jinx kills everybody. She's over double the Zaya's gold.
So, Serdi, before we get into the second game, that was a smack in the face for Golden Guardians Academy.
Yeah.
As a player, how do you come back from a moment like that, especially in a total of a best of 5? Puts you on the spot.
I might not be the best player to ask about that. I do have a little bit of a history of tilting, but if I was in Golden Guardians' position, I would probably talk briefly about the things in the early game which caused us to get in that situation. I think that draft was a big issue. I do not like Golden Guardians putting themselves in a situation where their side lanes are in, like, the Zaya specifically, where the Zaya does not get ahead of the Jinx, the game is going to be very difficult to play.
Yeah.
I don't like them putting Violet in that situation. I want the early game to be on jungle and mid, and I want them to move and help their scaling side lanes.
Yeah, I feel like one of the big things that, you know, if I was a coach going into this, I'd be telling the players, remember, autopilot is the enemy, right?
Yes.
Like, you have to be actively thinking about the game.
Exactly.
I feel like 100 Thieves came into this way better with a plan. And that's something that we've criticized Golden Guardians for in the past. If they get out of their laning phase, they play the rest of the game very, very well, but they're not always coming in with plans like CLG will do or the 100 Thieves will do during Proving Grounds. And
I agree.
we got to see that on full display as one of the big reasons why this game was so one-sided.
Exactly that. We are going to send it to a little break while we do get game 2 ready and rocking to go. So we'll be right back with more Proving Grounds.
Verizon is going ultra with 5G ultra wideband in many more cities, so you can do more. Mindy, with up to 10 times faster speeds, she can download a movie in minutes or a song in seconds.
Yep.
Okay, now let's work off-site. Public Wi-Fi? No thanks. 5G ultra wideband is faster and safer, and so powerful that it's not just for phones. Hello, 5G home and business internet. It's time to go ultra with Verizon, America's most reliable 5G network, so you can do more.